Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Blinkers Off. I have got Magic with me today. It'll be Magic and I doing the show today. We got all kinds of crazy things going on. Mr. Magic, how are we?
Dude, we're excellent. If you watch YouTube Bet Sports or listen to it earlier, YouTube Bet Daily, I'm sorry, too many shows. Who am I talking to? YouTube Bet Daily this morning. My best bet was the Red Wings Senators in Sweden over 6.5 goals, and Ottawa went up 3-0 in the first, 4-0 in the second. And then as we were talking and getting ready for this show, Detroit scored. And Detroit scored again. I was like, dude, they're going to cash this over before we go live. And they did. They cashed the over before we went live. And just for good measure, about 2 minutes ago, they put in. So it's tied up. It's 4-4. So as a Red Wings fan, it's great that we were coming back and it's now tied and we have all the momentum going into the third period. As a gambler, when you're halfway through a hockey game and go, cha-ching, cashed it. Like, that's great because hockey's very volatile, as this period has shown.
It's funny. We were talking, and then I left for a minute to do a couple previews for you for the website videos, and come back, and the over had already cashed, and they scored two goals while I was recording. So, yeah, that's always a great thing. Hey, the Dudes Who Bet Daily show, if you want, we'll plug that here right now. It's been pretty good so far. You got your win already, and then I got my win as well. Alexander Helios winning the third race at Churchill Downs at 8-5. So a really good start for that show. We'll see if we can make it 6 in a row. We won all 3 Sunday. We have 2 for 2 to start today. We still got Papa Dude out tonight, so we'll see what happens. But let's talk about this show because we got a big one for you today. Usually on Blinkers Off, we talk about a lot of stakes action and the big stuff going on. Well, there's no stakes action really to speak of. So we're going to do something a little different. Magic's on here today. We're going to do a combined late pick 5 ticket for Saturday at Aqueduct. So there'll be races 6 through 10 Saturday at Aqueduct if you want to handicap along. So what we're going to do, folks, Magic and I will sit down and we'll talk about all the races, and then we'll go back and form our ticket with our opinions that we've kind of went through. So, we may write down like 6 horses in race 6. That doesn't mean we're going to use all 6 of them. We're just throwing out who we like, and then we'll go back and trim it down. So with all that being said, are you ready to roll, Magic? You ready to start this?
I'm ready. Let's do it, baby.
All right. I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. We'll get right to it. So like I said, Aqueduct late pick 5 on Saturday, November 18th. We'll kick it off race 6 on the card. We're going to be on the turf here. Hopefully the weather holds off and we'll have turf racing. I think we will. We were kind of looking at it. So it's an allowance going 1 1/8, $90,000 the purse here. Field of 12 here on the turf. Magic, who did you like to kick us off?
Well, it looks like there's a lot of pace in here. At least if we stay on the turf and we keep the field like this, there's a lot of pace here, and it's kind of all on the outside. And so I think that helps horses that are going to be coming from off, definitely, because those outside horses all have to not only go forward, but they've got to cross over as well to save their ground. I went back and forth on who to use here, and his recent success, especially with jockey Irad Ortiz Jr., has me put the number 4 Danzig with the Stars for trainer Rick Dutrow on top. And I was doing the math in my head right before as I was handicapping this. His last start was September 2nd. He was with the previous trainer, so a 2+ month layoff. First time Dutrow into a spot that makes sense. How many times have we seen in the last 2 months, Aaron, this work for this barn and with this jockey aboard? You see in the statistics, in 10 starts in the last year coming off a similar layoff, the barn is 4 for 10, 7 for 10 in the money. And if you took out kind of the lower level, kind of dinkier horses that Dutrow's kind of had to deal with as well and looked at the talented ones, that percentage, I promise you, will go up.
Boy, I couldn't agree more. I like the 4 here quite a bit as well. I think this is for all the things that you said. You touched on all the things that make a ton of sense for him. I mean, he got Masterpiece to the winner's circle last week, Magic. I don't know if you noticed that, but that horse kind of went to him, been running just okay, and then boom, gets a victory off of a layoff.
Vinny Blond so Vinny does the best bets if you're playing Aqueduct. He does best bets for Aqueduct Saturday and Sunday. And one of his best bets was that exacta. He and I have always loved Soldier Rising, and I think you have too. And we hate that horse never can win. He always gets second. So we put Masterpiece over the top, and that exacta was like 60-something to 1. To like a horse that I thought could win the Pegasus World Cup turf beating Soldier Rising, who's guaranteed to get second in all of his races. So yeah, plug for Vinny as well there.
Yeah, very good. I did not realize that. So good job, Vinny. And if you're not watching that, he really does an excellent job. Vinny's a very good handicapper, especially when it comes to that NYRA circuit. So yeah, good job by him. And yeah, Masterpiece, man, just ran extremely well that day. So I'm with you. I think the 4 is one we definitely need to use. And you mentioned that you think the pace is going to melt down here. It does kind of feel that way on paper as well. I think that makes the number 10 Barrage pretty darn interesting here as well. I don't think he's going to come from way out of it, Magic, but I think he is going to be kind of off the pace, make a little bit of a run. I expect a trip kind of like he got last time out, or even 2 races back at Saratoga, where he's kind of, he's not really involved in the pace, but he's going to kind of be that first one to sit there and pick up the pieces. So I had the 10 on the ticket. I also think with that same kind of trip, the 5 Harry Hood was one that was really interesting to me. 8-1 here, a horse that's coming off of a win against Open Company starter allowance last time out. So I think, where I looked at the 10, been facing New York breds, the 5's been facing this Open Company. So I thought that was, obviously a pretty good sign as well. Also won at the distance last time out. So I think there's another one going to get a nice stocking trip and kind of get first run. So I'll write down the 5 as well. Anybody else you want to talk about or add to the list?
4 and 5 were A's. The 10 was a B. And my only C, or if you really want to get nutty with a long shot, possibly the 8 registered Donk, putting this horse on turf first time. Also third time off of a long layoff. That if you were looking maybe, tournament wise, I think this would be the horse to use. I don't know that in this field, allowance level, this is going to be a tough spot for this horse, I think. But coming out of 2 one-turn races and now doing a mile in an 8th, you could catch a flyer here. But again, that's if you just wanted to go deeper in this spot, or if you're playing a tournament, the 8's the other one I would look at.
I'm gonna mark down the 8. We'll kind of, like I said, what we do here with this is we'll go through all the races, write down all of them we're kind of thinking about, and then we'll trim them. So the 8 definitely is one we should probably write down because you see donk do this sometimes, right? You get kind of donked, as we like to say, and this could happen here. We'll see if we actually use the horse. If we go deep here, I say we do use them. What about the 11 Cyber Ninja? That's the other one I have wrote down. What do you think? I mean, horse has been consistent. It hasn't quite, had been in the winner's circle only 1 out of 7 times.
Yeah, that's my concern. Is I think he's a great underneath play, but at 4-1 with that outside post, he leaves himself too much to do, and he's caught some faster paces going 11 furlongs in the past, and he's come up with a run, but I feel like he just leaves himself too much to do at what you're going to pay it at 4-1.
I'm going to write him down, but I am with you on that. I think a lot of times you see slow paces in New York, but yeah, he caught 2 fast paces in a row and couldn't quite get there. I'm not so sure that he's going to get there this time either. I'll write him down, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think he probably is going to be on the outside looking in on our ticket. So I wrote down 4, 5, 8, 10, 11. Let's go to the next race here. And like I said, we'll narrow these down once we get through all of them and actually put the ticket together. Then we'll narrow them down. All right, let's go race 7, Magic. New York bred stakes race here on the dirt, going 6 furlongs. The Key Scent Stakes, 6 furlongs. Like I said, field of 8 here, Magic. All right, I think we might be able to go short here, but I want your opinion on this. What do you like?
I've been really impressed with the 2 races I've seen from the 6 solo shot. Trainer George Weaver is such a great sprint trainer and handles the babies really well. Saw how well he did with Ascot horses. Multiple horses going to Ascot, and your name's at Wesley Ward. You must be doing something right. I think this horse I know that she's been on the lead in both of her starts, but the way that she's extended and finished in both of those, Aaron, tells me that she is that for one better than 5.5 or maybe even 6 furlongs. But I think that she could handle a pace duel. I think if say the 3 or the 7, really burn out and want to go to the lead, I think the way that the 6 has responded in both starts under Manny Franco, she's shown that she can handle sitting off the pace. It's kind of something that I saw with Epicenter, where it's like, we haven't seen him Epicenter really try to sit off the pace, but the way that he ran, I thought was a way that he could sit off the pace, and then he ended up doing it. I'm not saying Solo Shot is Epicenter, but it kind of a similar style in that, like, when Franco says go, she goes, and that tells me she's just been that much better than the 2 races that she's faced so far.
She's been really impressive. A lot of times those horses will go over to Finger Lakes after they've been on the NYRA surface, and they act like they kind of hate life because that's a whole different animal as far as the quality of track, let's say, that they're running over. But she didn't have any trouble with it. I thought she was impressive. I'm with you on that one. I thought the number 5 Tricky Temper would be interesting at a little bit of a price, only 4-1, but a little bit of a price there. This is a horse that tried turf last time out. It didn't go well. The dirt resume is decent. I think it's very interesting. Irad Ortiz Jr. gets a board here instead of Katie Davis or Johnny Velasquez. I think that's a really big sign. This 5's getting ready to run a big race. Is that one you considered?
Yeah, this was my third pick in the race, the 5, and it was definitely one I thought you could put on the ticket, making an argument for.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's just the jockey situation there makes too much sense not to give this horse a long look. And by the way, the comment is Finger Lake may be a shithole, but it's our shithole. I agree. I like it. I'm just saying it is what it is. So I went too deep. This is what I wrote down anyway. The 3 and the 5. So the 3's Cars Time. That's the horse that's going to be the favorite here. 2 races back, won a pretty similar race to this in gate to wire fashion. Last time out was second when stretching out in distance to a mile, back to 6 furlongs here today. You mentioned that the 5 was your third choice. What about the 3?
Fourth choice. I was trying to beat the 3 in this spot, actually. I thought this was a horse we could try and take a shot against, but I can tell you're much higher on her here. I think that being the inside speed is going to be her detriment here. I think that trying to go 6 furlongs here, this is going to be she looked good at 7 and even a mile, but I'm worried about the 6 furlong spot for her against who she's facing.
Yeah, we're going to have some arguments when we try to structure this thing. That's going to be a fun thing once we round back into this. Okay, you mentioned your top choice. You mentioned the 3rd and your 4th. Who was the second horse you had on?
Number 7, Ashburn Alley. Only a maiden winner, but looked really nice in the slop, doing it at Aqueduct here, going 6 furlongs. But the ownership stays the same, but they transferred her to Tom Morley, who, by the way, had a horse that I think finished 6th in that race. So Morley saw what she was able to do. And Castellano's been working her aboard her that November 9th work. That was Javier Castellano in the saddle. And Castellano's been having arguably his best career year here. I think this is a sneaky horse at 4-1. So this was actually my second choice. I was really impressed with how she kind of sat on or just off of the pace early and then just kind of powered home in that slop.
Yeah, I don't mind that ad at all. I think that's one we're going to have to really. This is going to be a big debated race once we structure this thing. I'm with you on it though. The horse was pretty impressive on debut. Seemed to do it pretty easily as well. So, all right, I'm going to add 3, 5, 6, 7. That's what I've got wrote down for this one.
So there's 5 single-digit morning line horses in there. We talked about 4 of them. So did we just put the one My Shady Lady into the winner's circle?
I would be really surprised, wouldn't you?
I would too. She went to Gulfstream to break her maiden, and then against New York breds hasn't done well.
Yeah, I mean the race last time I was in the slop, so maybe didn't like slop, but 2 back was a fast track, not competitive, and yeah, I think she caught a maiden race at Gulfstream on July 1st. You just don't know who's in those races, right? And Carl David does a really, really nice job at Gulfstream. He wins like crazy. I'd just be really surprised. I don't have a lot of interest in that horse. So we're moving on. We're not gonna do it, Magic. All right, let's go to race 8 here. We gotta get going because I think we're gonna have some heavy debates once we structure this thing. Race 8 on the card, a 2-year-old maiden special weight on the turf. Just that right there goes, this is gonna be tough. 2-year-old maiden special weight on the turf, going a mile and a 16th, $85,000 the purse here. Field of 12. We also have some main track onlys and also eligibles, but field of 12 in the main body of this one. All right, buddy, where'd you go here?
Can I just say Chad Brown and go? Like, not have to talk anymore about it.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna the 8, specifically the 8 spend a lot at 7-2 is the top pick. Irad hopping aboard, first time starter for Chad Brown. Extremely well bred by More Than Ready out of a Scat Daddy mare. And CHP Racing got this horse for $650,000 as a yearling. So lots of things to like about this horse. Really, it's because it's Chad Brown debuting this horse, and it's where Irad ended up. It's not super fancy. It's the breeding's there. You would have to make a very superb case to not use this horse on the ticket.
Yeah, I definitely think you start with that. I mean, anytime you got Brown on the turf, debut, or Irad aboard, you start with that. So I'm with you. Same top pick here. I think I think this is going to get a little interesting once we get past this. So a horse that I really kind of am interested in is the 9. I'm not going to try to say the 9's name. Maybe you can. It's a Bill Mott third-time starter moving to the turf. I thought this was the kind of that interesting horse, so to speak. And you know me, I'm not huge on workouts. Magic, you look at these last 2 workouts this horse has had, it really looks like she's woke up a little bit. And now we're on the turf. It seems like we're kind of getting our head right. It's a horse that's got a little bit of speed here in a race where I don't really know what the pace is going to be. What did you think of this 9 for Bill Mott?
She is an interesting one, and it's worth noting that before her last start, her last work before that race was on the turf training track at Saratoga. So with the breeding by American Pharoah, Mott's a Hall of Famer. He's won a few races. So he knows he can look at this horse and think maybe she'll be better on the turf. I wonder, Aaron, why she was on the dirt, if maybe they thought that's where she would start. She did face, Alice Beach was a good horse to face on debut and then set the pace and kind of faded off a little bit to finish second last out. I did want to use her because there's a lot of things to like. It's Mott, third off the layoff. We're trying turf. We're trying 2 turns. The 6-1 price feels good. As far as the win bet goes, I wouldn't play her anything lower than that. But for making the ticket, I think this is absolutely a horse we need to have.
Yeah, I'm going to put her on here, and it's just going to depend on how short we go. Okay, what do you think? We talk about Pletcher, we talk about Brown, we talk about Mott. Pletcher's got 2 in here. Listen, he's got the 1 before you go, who's trying turf for the first time after 3 straight races on the dirt. And then you've got the 11 towards the outside with Dylan Davis aboard their Scandalous. What was your take on the Pletcher horses?
I think you can, boy, I almost don't like either one of them here. Mitoli, a superb sprinter. The horse is on the rail, so the 1 before you go will theoretically save ground, but 2 turns on the turf, even with the active war underneath. I don't like that, but you look at how the horses run and you watch the replays, and he just kind of almost seems one-paced, and that tells you with the running style that either the horse is absolutely no good or maybe wants 2 turns, and so they're trying the 2-turn here with her. As far as the 11 goes, don't like the post, and when you've got the other jockeys currently here still at Aqueduct, they haven't moved to Gulfstream yet, and that's when you're riding Dylan Davis. No offense to Dylan, but you're not the A squad until everybody goes to Florida.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest in the 11. The 1 mild interest, I'm kind of with you though. Mitoli, it kind of seems like, hey, for sprinting maybe, but the route on the rail, I don't know. I think it's going to be problems for sure. I agree. We talked about Dutrow in the opener. He's got 1 here. They tried. It was a 6 past tense. They tried to get this horse on the turf last time out. Ended up getting rained off and was on the dirt. Ran okay. I mean, not great though. What do you think? Now we're on the turf. What do you think of the 6?
Oh, different Dutrow. Is this his brother? Are Andy and Rick brothers? Sorry. Tony?
Yep.
Okay. And yeah, sorry. Tony's listen, I think the 6 was definitely one that I looked at, and I like the horse was bet down to 2-1 for that debut, and they wanted to put this horse on turf. It was a weirdly run race. The winner was, it was in the slop, so you had a 2-year-old that just ran off by over 10 lengths. I think this is a really good use, and again, for the horse to be 2-1, I know it was in the slop, but somebody thought this horse was going to pop big on debut, and all we've done is now hopefully put the horse on the surface we wanted in the first place. So this was actually my second choice here behind the 8.
Yeah, I misspoke. I meant to say that you had the other Dutrow. We talked about the first Dutrow, but that's what happens when you have to host. You have to run all this shit. I mean, come on, man.
Listen, man, it's tough. I'm happy to just sit back and watch you do it right now. I got to do it myself in 40 minutes.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So I'll write down the 6 as well. Do you want to write down the 4 just for the other Brown, or are you just like, hey, let's go 8 and forget about the 4?
No, I would use the 4 because last out, still a maiden, ran 4th in a stakes and really was pretty competitive in that spot. The runaway winner, Brock Nardini, she runs tomorrow in a stakes race at Aqueduct. So watch out for Brock Nardini. She goes against Live Magic, I think. So a very good horse to be beaten 3 3/4 lengths by. I think the 4 is a good use, and it's the other Chad, but it's Manny. Why not?
All right. The 4, 6, 8, and 9. That's what I've got wrote down. Anybody else you want to add?
No, not really. If you wanted to get nuts, maybe the 10, the Force Be With You, another Weaver horse, but I don't love the post for her. It's more, Cancel and Weaver 32%. That's a pretty good angle.
All right, I'm gonna write down the 10. Just we're just going through rough drafts right now, so we might as well put him on there. All right.
Why not?
All right, I'll add him. And all right, let's go to the next race here. Gosh, this is a tough late pick 5, man. This is another really tough race. Race 9 on the card here. The Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship Stakes. Going 6 furlongs, $150,000 the purse. Field of 12 again. All right, Magic, who we got?
Pass. This one was tough, man.
Right?
I let's just talk about, because I think we're both going to say he needs to at least be used. It's the 4R shot at 5-2. I'm not going to say he's my top pick, and that's a short price to take on a horse in a very competitive race, like you mentioned. This some really good horses in here, and he's been facing a lot of them, but it's where Irad ends up, and this horse is, like I said, has been competitive in every single turf sprint that he's run all year. And 2 of those were wins. He went to Keeneland and got an allowance win, which that's like winning a stakes race at a lot of tracks. Went to Saratoga and won an allowance race. And again, it's like having a stakes race on your resume. The few times he actually did go to the stakes, that's when we get second, just beaten third just by a whisker, second, beaten 2 lengths by Arzak, who went to the Breeders' Cup turf sprint out of that race. So he's competitive, but I think you have to be careful going. You can't rely on this horse too heavily, and I sure would not bet him at 5-2 to win this race, Aaron.
Yeah, I agree. I think, gosh, I think he's like a second choice type of horse. I am with you on that a little bit. Man, I really like the 6, nothing better. I think this, I know this thing looks fast on paper, but I think he's the speed of the speed. I think he'll get out ahead of him. I think the 6 is going to be tough to catch still in this race. You look at some of the horses that this horse has been beaten by this year. First of all, he wins an allowance race. He goes to Pimlico, gets beat by a neck by Beer Can Man. I thought he ran really well that day. He went to the Jaipur, got beat 2.5 or 2.25 by Caravel and Big Invasion, Casa Creed. I mean, shit, all horses that would be 4 to 5 in this race. The race at Monmouth wasn't very good. I'll give you that. That sucked. But last time out got beat by Today's Flavor, but only by a head. I don't know. I feel like nothing better at 6-1. I think he's the right price here. So I liked the 6 a lot. I think the number 1 Wit, that's the horse I've got in second. I think he's interesting. I think he will get a huge, kind of pace meltdown here. I don't know if it's a little short for him. I don't know if the rail is going to be a tough to negotiate. The 6 and the 1 were the 2 horses I wrote with the 4 also as well. Who else did you kind of think about write down in here?
As far as the price, it's funny. You used the 1 Wit. I went with the 8 Witty. We've got Wit and Witty in this spot. And Witty's a horse that, 5 races this year on turf sprints, at least going back to July. Yeah, going back to July. And has never finished worse than second. The last 2 were wins. The previous 3 were seconds. And if you're not familiar with the owner, breeder, and now, since the last 2 starts, trainer Elizabeth Merriman, this is who Caravel was with before Caravel was on the national stage. She was with Liz Merriman. Liz Merriman knows how to handle these horses, these great turf sprinters. She just ended up getting purchased and sent off to Motion and then Brad Cox. But this is a horse that the last 2 races, like I said, were with Merriman. Those were the 2 races that were wins. You're on smaller circuits, but you know this, Aaron, the turf sprint stakes game, it's kind of tough because you have to be able to move. There aren't that many graded stakes races, and there aren't that many stakes that are super competitive. So you've got it with big purses. So you have to be mobile, and that's why you've seen this horse go to Laurel, win, go to Pimlico and win, almost win at Parks, almost win at Monmouth. So should be able to bring his game on the board or on the road to Aqueduct, and I really love the connections here with Merriman and Javier Castellano.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I wrote the horse down as well. I think this horse makes a ton of sense. And you're right. The turf sprint, that form kind of goes from track to track. That form carries. So I'm with you on that one as well. So I've got 1, 4, 6, and 8 wrote down. I want to talk about the 11 and the 12. Thin White Duke is a horse that, gosh, more times than not, seems to be a heartbreaker. He always kind of shows up in these races, Magic, and you're like, I think we can play this horse at a price. And he always just gives you kind of that run, but doesn't quite win. And then the 12, I want to talk about him too, the 11 and 12. Dancing Buck, kind of that same kind of feeling with this horse. Kind of in that 7 to 8 to 1 range, 5, 4 to 1 range a lot of times. Just can't quite finish the job. What do you think about these 2 outside horses?
The 12 I passed on. He's outside speed with the 6, and I think it's going to be to his detriment. I like the 6 better, just like you do. The 11 I had as a horse to as like a a B or C ad, like one that if we left off, it wouldn't upset me, but I would try to make a case for it because it's Donk and he's back on turf after 2 dirt races. Good, a New York's bred stakes race and then a grade 3 stakes before that.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write them down, the 11 and the 12. And like I said, we probably will end up cutting them, at least one of them. But yeah, listen, I and Rodney mentioning the number 11 seems interesting. That is Thin White Duke. I don't disagree. I think this is a really, really tough sequence. And I think, some of these races, we're going to have to go short somewhere because we got to use a lot of these horses once this final ticket is done. All right. Speaking of going short, this might be a race we can do it. Let's go to the last one here before we round back and actually form the ticket for you guys. Race 10 on the card, final race, obviously. Starter allowance going 6 furlongs here. Field of 12, we're on the dirt. I said it. There is one horse I really kind of like in here. I want to know if it's the same one, though. Who do you like, Magic?
So I think there's absolutely one horse you've got to use, and you could single her depending on what the weather's like. If the weather is anything, if the track is anything but fast, go ahead and single the 5. She's awesome at 7-2. Is this who you were thinking of as well? All
right, we're on the same horse, and that's very good. Okay, go ahead.
So we know Linda Rice. When you take Linda Rice out of the stakes level, she's just been immaculate this year, and it's been all summer, fall, and into the winter here. It's his first time with Linda Rice. She claims it for $40,000 and immediately runs it back protected. That's a good sign. Look who was riding the last 2 races, Jose Ortiz. And he rides, of course he rides through the damn barn change. 29% with his aunts, his co-aunt, step aunt, something. However, they are, yes, there you go. Jose and Aunt Linda. I can't remember how they're related, but yeah. There you go. It's his aunt through marriage, Linda Rice, and they're just fantastic together. The only horse I would be worried about, potentially, if it's a fast track, the 6 Shaman Princess could go gate to wire here. But if you look at every race that she's had where it wasn't fast, she runs like dog shit. So she's also facing winners the first time. So maybe the 6, maybe a little flyer. Otherwise, single the 5.
Man, I think we're going to end up having to single this 5 here.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Look, a lot of really good signs. You talked about it. Jose riding through the claim. I mean, you knew that would happen, but claims the horse for 40. And now we're in a starter allowance, and it's like, okay, we're protecting the horse. That means we like it. So I like that better than claim it for 40 and then we're in for 20, but we tower over the field. Yeah, you might tower over the field, but that trainer's not dumb. The trainer doesn't like the horse for whatever reason, right? So it's a good sign that she got her hands on this one and likes it, thinks we can make some money with it. So she's awesome. I mean, I think we're going to have to end up singling the horse. I think the 4 is awfully dangerous as well, Magic. I think Icy Reply, this horse was a neck away from victory last time out. Same race, basically going 7 furlongs instead of 6. I thought this was a dangerous one. What did you think of the 4?
I think a 5-4 exact is going to pay very nicely here. 40 starts for the 4 wins, 13 seconds. This horse loves to be just second best.
Yep.
Yeah. 5-4 exacted. I think 5 to win, 5-4 exacted. I think that's how you could make money in this spot. And you should get better than usual payouts because there's 12 horses in here and like 8.5 of them are terrible.
Well, to that kind of talk, I do think, and Car Ramrod brings it up, no reason to like the 9 other than Ortiz and then the real Dutro. First off the claim for Dutro, I get it. The numbers don't look good. This horse is definitely, from a connection standpoint, pretty darn tough. What do you think of the 9 Proudfoot 10-1? Do we get enough improvement here?
I don't think you get enough improvement for the price that she gets hammered down to. I think she gets hit very hard. I mean, you look at her last races when she was with Linda Rice, 5-1, 5-1, 5-2, 2-1. Like, okay, like you're not, and now we're going to Dutro, and I just, like, people are catching on. Dutro is doing well with these horses when he gets his hands on them. And this one, I don't think has the room to grow. A lot of Dutro's biggest successes, a horse like White Abario or Masterpiece, is when they've shown previous success and stakes levels, and you advance them forward off of a layoff, usually too.
Well, that's just it. It makes me feel better that the horse is getting claimed off of Linda and not somebody. It's like, oh, like a 2% trainer. It's like, oh boy. Yeah. I don't know how much you're going to move up off of Linda. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. So I guess that, we went through the races. I guess the big question now, but we got to start building this ticket. Are we just singling the 5? Like, is that going to be what we're doing? Okay.
Even if the 6 catches a fast track, it's first time winners. She's never held on before when she's had open spots. So yeah, let's single the 5 here.
All right. Well, we're going to single the 5. We will see what happens. So this is the deal, right? What Papa Dude and I like to do is keep it around $100, maybe a little above, a little below, but nothing crazy. So cool. We have a single in the last. So we wrote down 5 horses in the first, 4 horses in the second, 5 in the third, and then 6 horses in the fourth leg. We're saying 1 through 4 legs there. That's $300. So we got to trim this thing down.
All right.
What race do you feel most confident in? Not race 10, but 6 through 9. What do you feel most confident
in? I thought we saw race 6 pretty well.
Okay.
We were pretty in sync on that one. 5, 10, 4 were the ones we for sure wanted to use. Which, by the way, thank you for inviting me on your show and then making me sit here with my butthole pucker because you're going to make a joke about the 7 so high in the first race that Magic comes on to talk about on your show.
Well, guess what?
I kept waiting for you to make a joke and you never did, so thank you.
I didn't do it because I am all class. That's why.
That fruit was hanging so low it was on the ground.
Yeah, I was not going to do that to you. So, well, I mean, now I kind of want to, though.
It's too late. I already brought it up. You can't make a joke now.
Hold on here. So, okay. So if we go 4, 5, 10 in the first leg, and then we keep everything else the same, we're at $180.
Hey, that's a good improvement.
Yeah, we're getting close. And I'm with you. So we're going to go 4, 5, 10 in the first leg. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. So we're at 180. So
race 7 was our biggest disagreement, so let's move past that one.
Okay, yeah, race 7, we're at 4 deep, 3, 5, 6, 7. I'll tell you this, we're getting through race 7 if we do that. So
yeah, it's gross, but we're get through it because it's kind of a gross. We both were like too far apart. Okay. We both like in race 8 the 6. Wait, no, did we like the 6?
Race 8, I've got 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. So, what was that?
If you took the 10 off, what would that do?
Took the 10. Oh, yeah, that's like kind of that odd.
Yeah, that was just a bomb horse.
Okay, hold on. So then we'd have 3 by 4 by 4 by 6. So we're down to 144.
Okay.
So what we could do is just take one horse out of the last or the 9th race, and we're at $120.
Let's take off. I swear, if this bites us in the ass, I'm going to laugh so hard. Take off the 10, run Curtis, run.
We didn't use the 10.
I thought you used, you went 11, 12.
11, 12. So in the 9th race.
Take off the 12.
Take off the 12? Dancing Buck? Okay.
Because I feel like we're covered with the speed horse, with the better speed horse, with the better draw in the 6. The 12 is just there to either make it a fair race and speed up the 6 or let the 6 go off by himself.
Okay, so let me write this down. I'm kind of with you. That was easier to trim than I thought it would be. So that's good. 4, 6, 8.
Oh yeah, 120.
Yep, we're at 120. I'm going to put it up on the banner now. There we go. All right, so there it is. That's the late pick 5. That's right, Carr. We can splurge because we're already way ahead for the day. So
we're plus money and then some for the day.
That's right. Yes, it's so fun when you do those early games or races and it comes through because then you just relax the rest of the day.
Or you're just like, well, that sucked, and you can just drink the rest of the morning and afternoon to forget about it.
Or you could do that. Yeah. See, I always think positively. You're thinking negatively. So
I'm thinking how to take it a negative and make it a positive.
I like it. Okay. So, all right, let's recap this here. So here it is, late pick 5, Saturday at Aqueduct, races 6 through 10. By the way, we'll update this if it does come off the turf. We're just assuming it's going to be. So we're going to go 4, 5, 10 with 3, 5, 6, 7 with 4, 6, 8, 9 with 1, 4, 6, 8, 11 with the 5 singled in the last $120 ticket. So $60 because we're going to split it. Like said, it's a buddy ticket. So there you go. All right. Let's I'll keep that up there while we kind of talk and kind of round this thing out today. But
Yeah.
that's it. How you feel about it, Magic?
I think it's a good. The one race where we had complete disagreement, the second leg there, it's not. I liked my 2 better than your 2, but if either of your 2 won, it wouldn't surprise me. I just was seeing it a different way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think if you're looking at this ticket right now and you're like, okay, how can I break it down? Take a little bit more of a stand in that leg. As far as being, what's the right word? I don't know, like that. We're using too many horses in that race that are low prices, right? I think that's the big problem. You can definitely trim it down right there. Take a stand there. We could probably sit here and argue about it, but when you're doing kind of this group buddy ticket, that's kind of the point of it, to use all the horses. But if you're doing it by yourself, that's probably the race where you take a stand. And if you cut that down to 2 horses, let's say, well, then you've got a very manageable ticket to play on your own there. So I'm with you. It's a weird race. And if the 1 wins that race, I'm going to be super pissed. I don't know about you.
I'll be more upset if Run Curtis Run wins, but especially because neither of us used him.
So Run Curtis Run in the 9th. Yeah, it just feels like he's up against it. But I mean, second off a layoff, maybe that's the key.
No, I mean, he needs to go back to being a 2-year-old. That's really, I mean, he's fine, but it's like he never took a step forward as he's grown. I've been following him for obvious reasons since he debuted, and he just really has kind of been. He is what he is. He'll show up with some fun, like, at Kentucky Downs, he runs second to one-timer or Big Invasion. Like, that's fun, but that's who he is. He's fun.
Well, I mean, he was beaten a length and a half by No Balls, who just won the Breeders' Cup turf sprint. So
he was 8th, beaten 11 lengths in this race last year.
Okay. Nothing better won this race last year, and Thin White Duke was 3rd. We got those horses on the ticket. So
see, we're covered.
Okay.
And Anaconda looked at this and said, "I don't want none."
I don't want none.
And left it at that.
Oh,
another donk on turf, right? Is the Anaconda with donk?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, there you go. Or at least at one point. Before we go, I wanted to talk about real quick what you and I were talking about last night, because I've been excited about it. We were both excited about it. Do you want to discuss it now? Breaking news.
Oh, you talking about the new kind of thing we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll set you up. Magic texted me last night, said I had an idea for this show, and when he was talking, I thought, I don't think this is for Blinkers Off. I think this is its own thing. So yeah, go ahead and tell people what we're gonna start doing.
Starting with the Remsen Stakes week, there's a weird paint mark on my microphone here. Starting with Remsen Stakes week, we're going to be doing trivia on Racing Dudes. Trivia Tuesday. So what'll happen is I'll be writing 10 trivia questions based on whatever big race the Derby prep is coming up that week. So in this case, it'll be the Remsen Stakes. Aaron and our first guest, Vinny Blond, will have 10 questions, all multiple choice. And, it might be something like, what jockey has won the most Remsens? Or, which horse has the fastest time? I need to stop making these examples because now I can't use them as questions, because if you guys are smart, you'll go research them. But it's multiple choice. I'll have you guys, you get 10 seconds to write it down on a piece of paper. When it's done, you both flash your answer. And the fun part about we're going to pre-record it, but as it's coming out live on the YouTube channel, if you're participating, we'll try and do it at a good time in the afternoon slot on Tuesdays. And in the chat, we'll try and participate with you guys if we can watch along and see what you guys guess on it. So anyways, just something that I thought would be fun. And it's really not anything that I've seen on the internet, and especially not on YouTube, that's horse racing trivia specifically. I love trivia. I know Vinny loves trivia. Shadi loves trivia. And Aaron knows a lot of trivia and has a great memory for it. So at least of everybody that's on the Racing Dudes team, I thought Aaron would be the best person to represent us on this side. And then, it'll be themed to whatever the Derby prep is. So, Fountain of Youth, Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby. We'll be building up to those. If you are, we'll eventually do something to figure out to bring in fans or subscribers to participate once a week with Aaron. Everybody or anybody who beats Aaron will get a small prize. And at the Kentucky Derby trivia show, everybody or anybody who's beaten Aaron will all compete together, and we'll have one grand prize winner for cash prize, and we'll figure that out later. But we'll see how much Aaron really wants to afford to risk here. Put the company money on the line. Maybe we'll put the company Amex on the line and for 20 Kentucky Derby trivia questions.
Well, first of all, let's see how it goes before we start promising all this stuff. But yeah, Shadi chimed in and said she loves this. I do too. I think this will be fun. Listen, I do have a lot of knowledge, but like a question you just asked, who's won the most Remsons? I wouldn't have a clue, So I think it. I don't.
But if I gave you 4 choices, you might be able to figure it out from there. I'm not trying to make it super hard or make you look like an idiot. This is supposed to be fun.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't take it that way. Don't trust me. I'm not worried about that.
What was the winning time for Mo Donegal's Remsen Stakes win? What was the final time? 148-1, 148-2, 148.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I know you're not going to do that kind of stuff. It'll make it fun.
Maybe that'll be the tiebreaker, and whoever gets closest to the number gets the win.
So Ramon Dominguez would have been my guess on the Remsen Stakes wins. Is that true?
See, I don't even know.
Okay. All right. Well, see.
Ramon Dominguez. I was going to guess Mig, but jockey, it's actually a tie. Eddie Maple and Johnny Velasquez.
Oh, okay. Johnny Velasquez. That's good. Yeah. Carr says, I'll study more for this than I did for calculus. I like that. Yeah. Listen, I think this is going to be fun. I like this idea a lot. Yeah. When you first sent it to me, I thought, I'm not going to do this. And then when you started giving me like the ideas and stuff, I was like, actually, this sounds really good. So,
well, and especially think like you might not be so great with the Remsen, but Arkansas Derby, Rebel history, like you're going to know that shit. Like we're going to have to bring in a heavy hitter for you on Arkansas Derby Day.
Well, listen, I'm not going to sit here. I don't know. We'll see what happens. There are certain things where I'm really good at, but there are other things like history of the Remsen. I'm not going to be very good. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I definitely have some special knowledge at certain tracks like Prairie Meadows or Remington, but I don't think we're going to be talking about that a lot. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be fun. It's just something new. Yeah. We should do AEW trivia as well. Magic. What do you think about that?
Oh,
when was he?
Now, I would rather study for calculus than study AEW trivia. I don't want to have to study for questions.
Watching 4 or 5 hours of their programming is enough. I don't think we need to add anything to it.
Shadi asked how far back we're going. I would keep it within because it's Derby related. I would keep it within the Derby point system. Well, no, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to try to be too historical. I'll try to keep things more modern era. A question like who's had the most wins is going to, of course, encompass every year, but
yeah. How many?
Well, that's your fault, Shadi.
I was just saying, there's nothing we can do about that. How many eyes did the 2022 Rebel winner have? That's a good one. Oh shit!
If you know, you know.
One.
Unoho.
Oh man! All right.
How many one-eyed horses have been in the Rebel? How about that question? Oh no, Patch was in Fairgrounds, wasn't he? He went the Fairgrounds route. Yeah. Shit. All right. Damn.
Like the answer that there's 2 that I know of. Unoho was one, and then there was another one. Can't think of the name, but they did have another one back. Gosh, probably would have been 2009, 2010, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Toby Keith owns a horse that has one eye, by the way.
Pollard's Vision was one-eyed. I didn't know that.
Yes.
He was a stallion, right?
He was not at Oaklawn, I don't think, though.
No, I just looked up who had one-eyed. I'm trying to figure out who had one-eyed or famous one-eyed horses.
Power Slam. He's not famous though.
Power Slam.
Yeah, for Toby. Anyway.
Hard Not to Love. That was a filly. She was great. Won the La Brea. Yeah.
Yeah, she was crazy. Yeah.
She was the nuttiest. I've seen some nutty horses. I've never seen anything. Okay, how am I supposed to write Husker Bush questions?
Well, I'll be the host that week. We're not doing that. He's not interesting enough.
I love actually. Is that true?
What's that?
Did the best horse to win the Springboard Mile, Senior Buscador?
But he's probably not, but I think in the last few years he has been.
Did Will Take Charge win it?
Will Take Charge did not.
He was in it, but he didn't win it, right?
He got second. He got beat by a 99-1 shot. Yep.
That was the horse I was like, I think there was one horse better than Buscador, but then that's right, he didn't win it.
So Will Take Charge won the Smarty Jones, and that same horse got second to him that day. But yeah, he actually lost at the wire to a 99-1 shot trained by Danielle. Can't think of her name now. Danielle Duras. Danielle, what is her name? Oh my God, I can see her. Anyway, yeah, Texas.
Well, if you can see her, just ask her. Don't be rude.
Well, that was okay. I got to look that up now. I can't think of the horse's name that beat him. Texas something. 99
Texas
to 1.
Red? No,
it wasn't Texas Red. Okay,
hold on.
I'm about.
I'm gonna look. Who's
about
gonna get it first? We're racing.
Remington.
Texas Bling. Texas
Bling.
Bling.
Yeah.
Danielle Durham.
Yeah, Danielle Durham. Yeah,
Danielle Durham.
Yeah.
128 to 1.
Yes.
Pay 259.
Yes. Yep. It was a great race. Texas Bling, and then We'll Take Charge came back.
We'll Take Charge was 12 to 1.
Well, We'll Take Charge. Last race coming into that was 13th, just 2 weeks earlier in the Kentucky Jockey Club. So that would be one.
Listen, 'tis the law. Lost the Kentucky Jockey Club. It happens.
It does happen.
It's always It is always Manny Franco's fault. Anyway, sorry. What?
That's right. All right, we got to get out of here. But any comment on the Parks announcer? Dennis wants to know.
I think that she's doing a much better job than when she started.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, she slipped up. I think if any, here's the problem I have, not to go soapboxy at the end, but if anyone else had said that, people would have laughed and moved on. But because it's an announcer that people have been targeting harshly online for her calls, somewhat deserves some, that she deserves some criticism, but not the level she's gotten. So she screwed up. I mean, whatever. You heard her laugh about it too in the call. She realized she did it, and she didn't stop. She kept going and kept calling the race.
Yeah. It was funny. It was a funny thing.
Whatever. It was funny. Move on. It's not worth.
I don't think she should be fired. Do people actually think that? Probably not, right?
People think she should be fired for everything she does.
Oh.
There's just some people that,
Well,
some of those same people thought it was fun to make a meme out of me when Practical Move died. So
that's true.
You just kind of go whatever and move on.
Well, since we're on a happy note, we'll end it. So we'll end it right there with a happy note.
Matt Dinnerman coming to Oaklawn. Talk about announcers. There we go. That's going to be a great one. I'm excited for.
Yeah, Dinnerman, I'm really happy for him. It's a tough job. I hope he's ready for it. But I'm super stoked. I think he's gonna love it. I think he's gonna love it there. But it is a tough job, no doubt about it. But he can't do any worse than what they had. All right, guys, we're going to get off here now. We will be back next week for Blinkers Off. Magic Mike coming on 13 minutes. Magic, what are you guys doing?
Delmar, late pick 5. The Frankenstein ticket hit last week. Yeah, we're so close. We can feel it. We're going to hit one of these. Technically, my Magic Mike ticket hit the Breeders' Cup because Pretty Mischievous scratched, and you feel it with the post-time favorite Idiomatic. But
yep,
I didn't play it or give it out, so I didn't want to celebrate that. But I feel like we're going to hit one or both of us will hit today. So,
all right. Well, there you go. Good luck to you guys. 12 minutes away from that. Magic, thanks for joining us for Blinkers Off today. A lot of fun. We'll be back next week. Huge Thanksgiving weekend. We'll have big time stakes action to talk about then. All right, guys. We will see you later. And Magic will see you in 12 minutes.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.